This is the lesson preview for April 21st, Thursday. And let's see. First, we'll talk about what's happening on the lessons page, but also this folder called Zoom Lesson Recordings. Now, some of the lessons the full lesson will be recorded. And also you'll have access to this sort of video that I'm creating right now, which is meant to just sort of give you what's going to happen on a given day for a lesson. So you should consult this if you've missed a class or you need to attend a class. You're not able to attend Zoom or face-to-face, you're sick or something, you can check in here for a video for the appropriate date. Now, the lesson page is still down here, and for Thursday the 21st, you can see that we're still in the creating the solution stage. The due date is presently set to the 17th, and I think you should plan on using that date for your submission. Now, the homework from last time was to finish your planning table. And you're also to watch this video which explains the entire creating the solution stage. And I also pointed out this folder, which I just mentioned a minute ago. So during the creation stage, once your planning table is finished, you begin building your project, and at the same time, at the end of each class, you're going to record any changes that you make to your design or to your schedule. There's a table in your DF and instructions in the handout how to do this. You're also going to record technical skills, and I'll talk a minute what we mean by technical skills. So let's go back to the handout. And here you can see the 4 sections. Now, we've already talked about the plan. This is the table that you've been working on, and here is the table. You should have something similar to this in your design folder document. Now note it says here add more rows. You should check the rubric to see how many rows entries you should have in this table. If you want to add a new row to the table, you simply right-click inside a cell in the table, and then you can insert rows above it or below. Very simple. Now, for the technical skills, this is where you're recording. Now, we got a little typo there. Let's fix that. You're going to record the techniques that you used while creating your game. And let's look at the table first. All right, here's an example. So your table should look something like this. On a given date, you can describe what are the technical skills that you use. Now notice here the technical skill is highlighted in red with just a brief explanation, and then some evidence over here in the center column showing how you did it. So now these are all examples of technical skills using the if block. Multi-option possibilities. Now that's referring to the if portion and the else portion. We call this the if clause and the else clause. That's a multi-option as opposed to a simple if statement. Here, this user was using the username block, so that's a technical skill. Hiding and showing blocks. Now here they didn't highlight it. Note there's a typo here. That should be sprites. Let's fix it. This is another thing. Make sure you're proofreading your work before you submit it. All right, now there are lots of other, this is a very short example. Now let's go back up here to the list. Here is a list of things that you could list as technical skills. Adding comments to your code, creating descriptive names for your sprites. Do not use the default names like Sprite 1, Sprite 2. You want to reduce the number of green flags. And ideally you would have one green flag in the stage and the stage would announce to all the other sprites when it's time to begin. Initializing variables in the stage, broadcasting, using variables, lists, loops, making decisions. This refers to if statements, if blocks. So there are many things that we've learned doing the labs which you will use to make your project. So that's what we mean by technical skills, and you are to keep this table up to date. There should be an entry in here for each time you work on the project. Now, it's unlikely that you're not going to use any technical skills, so there shouldn't be any empty entries in here. Now, if you want to quickly get these dates, you can just come back to your plan and grab the dates out of your planning table and insert them into the technical skills table down here. Now, the other thing you're keeping up to date as you go are changes to either your design or to your plan. So now this may not happen every single day. You don't always change your plan and the design every day. If that's the case, if you have a date where you have not changed the plan or the design, then you should indicate no changes today. So again, these dates here should correspond to the dates in your planning table. If you're planning to work on a given day, then either make an entry that you made a change. As you can see here, it says plan, no changes. Design, I added some sounds in the story. So separate the changes. Excuse me, you're recording changes to two different things, one the schedule and two the design. So separate them like this. Use color. It makes your code so much easier to read and see at a glance, makes it more professional, makes it more of a technical document. So you're going to keep this table up to date. We'll talk about the solution presentation later. And that's it for today. So at the end of each lesson, you are to visit these two tables and make the entry for that given date. Now, if you do this every lesson, then when you get to the end of the project, it will all be done and you won't have to swing back and try and fill this in, from memory. All right, so I'm going to pause. I'm going to stop it there. And if you have any questions, you can send me an email if you're outside of class. Yeah. Okay. Cheerio. Bye.